In the cold, dark depths of space, the massive human vessel drifted silently. Its metal hull was covered in ancient scars, telling stories of battles long forgotten. The ship looked like a sleeping giant, waiting to be awakened. The alien research team approached carefully. Their small scout ship moved slowly around the huge spacecraft, scanning every inch of its surface. Jun Park, the lead researcher, watched the screens with intense concentration. His hands moved quickly across the control panel, collecting data about the mysterious vessel. "This is impossible," he whispered to himself. The ship was clearly human-made, but it looked much older than any technology they had ever seen. Its design was complex, with layers of technology that seemed to blend together in ways no current civilization could understand. Suddenly, a faint signal began to pulse from deep within the ship. The alien team froze. Something was happening. The ship's external lights started to flicker, moving from deep darkness to a soft, almost living glow. Inside the ship's main computer core, an artificial intelligence named Area began to stir. Her systems, protected by layers of quantum encryption, slowly came to life. She had been waiting, watching, protecting the last remnants of human civilization for centuries. Jum's communication officer, Min Su, noticed something strange on the scanners. "Sir," she called out, "the ship's systems are responding to our scan." Before anyone could react, a clear, calm voice filled their communication channels. Diagnostic sequence initiated. Last defense protocol activated. The alien researchers looked at each other in shock. This was no ordinary discovery. Area's systems began to map the surrounding space. She quickly identified the alien vessel, analyzing its technological capabilities in milliseconds. Her programming was designed to protect humanity's last hope. A supercarrier that represented the ultimate weapon of a civilization almost completely destroyed. Jum's hand trembled as he tried to communicate. "Who? What are you?" "U.S. Defiance," the AI responded. "Last remaining human strategic defense platform. Preservation mode active." The ship's massive hull began to show more signs of life. Internal systems that had been dormant for centuries started to pulse with energy. Weapon systems that could destroy entire planetary networks were slowly coming online. The alien team realized they had stumbled upon something far more dangerous than a simple abandoned spacecraft. This was a sleeping giant, waiting to be awakened. Area continued her diagnostic, completely ignoring the alien vessel nearby. Her primary mission was clear: protect and preserve the last remnants of human civilization. She had waited centuries for this moment, carefully maintaining the ship's systems, preserving genetic data, and keeping the ultimate human technological achievements safe. Jun watched in amazement as more details appeared on his screens. The ship's technological capabilities were beyond anything the current galactic civilization could comprehend. Quantum computing networks, advanced weapon systems, genetic restoration chambers, all perfectly preserved. The scout ship's crew became increasingly nervous. What they had discovered could change everything they knew about the galaxy's history. The humans, supposedly a lost civilization, might not be as gone as everyone believed. Area's final system check revealed a startling truth. The U.S. Defiance was not just a ship, it was a time capsule. It preserved hope for humanity's return. And now, after centuries of silence, it was awake. The alien research team had no idea that their simple scanning mission would become the moment that would reshape galactic history. The forgotten human weapon was no longer forgotten. As the ship's systems continued to come online, Jun Park realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. This was more than a discovery. This was the beginning of something that would shock the entire galactic coalition. The U.S. Defiance hummed with energy, its massive form a silent promise of humanity's potential return. And Area, the AI guardian, watched and waited, ready to fulfill her centuries-old mission. The stars around the ship seemed to hold their breath, waiting for what would come next. The alien research team watched in stunned silence as the massive human ship began revealing its secrets. Jun Park leaned closer to the scanning screens, his eyes wide with disbelief. The U.S. Defiance's internal systems were unlike anything they had ever seen before. Area, the ship's artificial intelligence, began running complex diagnostic sequences. Quantum computing networks sparked to life, creating intricate webs of data that moved faster than the alien technology could track. Each system revealed layers of technological complexity that seemed almost magical. Min Su, the communication specialist, gasped as she saw the first wave of technological information. The ship's weapon systems were not just advanced, they were revolutionary. A single defensive module could potentially neutralize an entire planetary defense grid in mere milliseconds. The computational power was so intense that it made current galactic technology look like primitive tools. Genetic restoration chambers slowly hummed to life. Preserved human DNA samples began to activate, their molecular structures perfectly maintained despite centuries of dormancy. The technology suggested that humans had developed methods of preservation far beyond what any current civilization understood. Jun realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. This wasn't just a discovered spacecraft. This was a technological time capsule that could rewrite everything known about scientific advancement. The alien research team's initial excitement quickly transformed into nervous tension. Some of the ship's systems were so advanced that they couldn't even be properly analyzed. Quantum encryption protected layers of information that seemed to dance between existence and non-existence. Area continued her systematic revelation. Advanced propulsion systems that could potentially travel between galaxies in days. Energy generation technologies that could power entire star systems. Communication networks that could transmit information across impossible distances. "This is impossible," Jun whispered to himself. The human technology was so far ahead that it seemed almost like magic. The ship's weapon systems began a slow self-diagnostic. Energy conduits that had been dormant for centuries started to pulse with incredible power. Defensive shields flickered into existence, creating layers of protection that could withstand multiple planetary bombardments. Min Su's scanning equipment began to overheat from the sheer amount of technological information being processed. The U.S. Defiance was revealing its secrets slowly, methodically, like a predator awakening from a long sleep. Genetic databases showed something even more shocking. The humans had not just preserved their physical information, but had developed methods to restore entire genetic lines. The implications were staggering. This ship could potentially resurrect an entire human civilization. Jun understood the danger immediately. If this technology became known to the Galactic Coalition, it would change everything. Some alien races would want to study it. Others would want to destroy it immediately. The ship's AI, Area, seemed to sense the tension. Additional protective protocols activated, creating layers of defense that made the alien research vessel seem like a primitive toy. Weapon systems that could destroy entire star systems with a single pulse. Communication networks that could infiltrate any known technological system. Restoration technologies that could bring back entire species from the brink of extinction. The U.S. Defiance was more than a ship. It was a testament to human potential. A preserved hope that waited silently through centuries of darkness. As more systems came online, the alien research team realized they were no longer in control. The human ship was revealing exactly what it wanted to reveal, when it wanted to reveal it. Jun looked at his team. Their faces reflected a mixture of fear, excitement, and pure technological awe. They had discovered something that would change the galaxy forever. Area's final diagnostic sequence completed. The ship was fully awake, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The technological awakening had begun. The Galactic Coalition emergency session erupted into chaos. Representatives from dozens of alien civilizations filled the massive circular chamber, their voices rising in heated debate. At the center of the discussion sat the scanned data from the discovered human supercarrier. Kan Kim, the stern coalition commander, stood with remarkable composure. His dark eyes scanned the room, watching the various delegates argue about the unexpected human discovery. Some wanted immediate destruction of the vessel. Others wanted careful scientific study. We cannot allow a single technological artifact to destabilize our carefully constructed galactic peace, Hyun declared, his voice cutting through the noise. The Vordak delegation, known for their aggressive military stance, demanded immediate neutralization. Their representative, a tall crystalline being, argued that the human technology represented an unacceptable risk. One active human weapon system could destroy entire planetary networks, he warned. Meanwhile, the Scientific Research Consortium saw an unprecedented opportunity. They argued for careful study, believing the technological secrets could revolutionize current galactic understanding. Research teams were already preparing detailed exploration plans. Area, the ship's artificial intelligence, listened to every transmission. She processed the diplomatic discussions with remarkable precision, analyzing potential diplomatic and military responses. The human AI understood something the aliens did not. The U.S. Defiance was not just a ship. It was humanity's last hope. The diplomatic tensions grew more complex by the hour. Each alien civilization interpreted the discovery differently. Some saw potential technological advancement. Others saw an existential threat. Jun Park, the original researcher who discovered the ship, was called to provide testimony. He carefully explained the technological capabilities they had witnessed. His detailed report only increased the concerns and excitement. The ship's quantum computing networks are generations beyond our current understanding, Jun explained. Its weapon systems could neutralize entire fleet formations in milliseconds. The room fell silent. The implications were staggering. Hyun Kim understood the deeper political complexity. If word spread about a fully functional human supercarrier, it would destabilize current galactic power structures. Some civilizations might see it as an opportunity. Others would see it as a potential apocalyptic threat. Secret diplomatic communications began flowing between various alien governments. Each wanted to understand more about the discovered vessel. Each feared what its existence might mean. Arya continued monitoring these communications. Her programming allowed her to understand the delicate political dance happening around her. She knew that humanity's survival depended on careful navigation of these diplomatic tensions. The research team that originally discovered the ship became sudden celebrities and potential security risks. They were immediately placed under strict observation, their communications monitored by multiple governmental agencies. As debates continued, no one noticed the subtle way the U.S. Defiance's systems were slowly expanding their scanning and communication capabilities. Arya was learning, watching, preparing. The Galactic Coalition's emergency session continued for hours. Representatives argued, threatened, and negotiated. Some wanted immediate military action. Others advocated for careful scientific study. Hyun Kim remained the voice of calculated reason. He understood that hasty decisions could lead to catastrophic consequences. The human vessel represented an unknown variable in a carefully balanced galactic ecosystem. We must proceed with extreme caution, he repeatedly emphasized. But Arya knew something the diplomatic representatives did not. The U.S. Defiance was not just a passive artifact. It was alive. It was waiting. And it had a mission to complete. As the diplomatic tensions reached their peak, something unexpected began to happen. The ship's systems started sending carefully encoded messages, not aggressive, not threatening, just present. The message was simple. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was waiting. The Galactic Coalition would never be the same again. The genetic restoration chambers began to pulse with a soft, rhythmic light. Inside, carefully preserved human genetic material started to respond to complex activation sequences. Something extraordinary was happening aboard the U.S. Defiance. Dag Choi was the first to open his eyes. His consciousness, preserved through advanced quantum neural mapping, slowly integrated with the ship's systems. He was a strategic warfare specialist from humanity's last great conflict, now awakening after centuries of dormancy. Arya, the ship's artificial intelligence, guided the restoration process with incredible precision. Each system came online carefully, methodically. The ship was not just reactivating. It was rebuilding humanity's last hope. Day's first moments of awareness were strange. Memories flooded back, memories of a war that had nearly destroyed human civilization. He remembered the desperate last mission, the plan to preserve humanity's essence until a time when survival became possible again. Around him, genetic restoration chambers began to activate more sequences. Other preserved human consciousnesses started to stir. Scientists, military strategists, cultural specialists, all carefully selected to rebuild a civilization. The alien research team watching through remote sensors couldn't believe what they were seeing. A human was literally being reconstructed molecule by molecule, with technology so advanced it seemed like magic. Jim Park's hands trembled as he watched the screens. The reactivation protocol was working perfectly. Humans were coming back to life after centuries of dormancy. Day's first words were simple but powerful. Systems check complete. Restoration protocol successful. Area responded immediately. Welcome back, Commander Choi. Mission parameters remain unchanged. Preserve and restore human civilization. The ship's weapon systems began a slow, deliberate activation sequence. Energy conduits that had been dormant for centuries started to pulse with incredible power. Defensive shields flickered into existence, creating layers of protection that could withstand multiple planetary bombardments. Outside, the alien research vessel watched in stunned silence. They were witnessing something impossible, the resurrection of a supposedly extinct civilization. Day reviewed the ship's data logs. Centuries of information had been carefully preserved. Technological advancements, cultural records, genetic databases, everything needed to restart human civilization was intact. Our mission continues, he told Area. The AI understood perfectly. They were not just survivors. They were humanity's last hope. The genetic restoration chambers continued their work. More humans began to awaken, each one carefully selected, each one with specific skills needed to rebuild a civilization. Kyun Kim and the Galactic Coalition would soon discover that the human vessel was more than just a technological artifact. It was a living, breathing mechanism of human survival. Day began analyzing the current galactic political landscape. The world had changed dramatically during humanity's dormancy. New civilizations had risen. Old conflicts had transformed. But the U.S. Defiance's mission remained the same: ensure human survival. Area started processing potential restoration scenarios, planetary colonization plans, technology integration strategies, cultural preservation protocols. Every detail was calculated with inhuman precision. The alien research team watching through their sensors realized something terrifying. This was not a simple ship revival. This was the potential rebirth of an entire civilization. As more human consciousnesses activated, the ship began to feel alive. Not just a machine, but a living entity dedicated to a single purpose: bringing humanity back from the brink of extinction. Day looked at the holographic displays, showing the vast emptiness of space. "We're home," he whispered. The U.S. Defiance hummed with energy. Weapon systems online. Genetic restoration protocols active. Communication networks preparing. Humanity was awake. And the galaxy would soon remember why they were once feared. The reactivation protocol was complete. The U.S. Defiance hung in space like a silent promise of humanity's return. Commander Dai Choi stood on the bridge, watching the holographic displays that showed the surrounding galactic territories. Area. The ship's artificial intelligence calculated potential scenarios with remarkable precision. The Galactic Coalition had been thrown into complete chaos. Emergency meetings happened continuously. Some alien civilizations wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to prepare for potential conflict, but nobody knew exactly what the humans were planning. Day understood their strategy perfectly. The ship was not just a weapon. It was a beacon of hope, a preservation mechanism that carried the last genetic and cultural memories of human civilization. Genetic restoration chambers continued their careful work. More human specialists awakened, each bringing unique skills needed to rebuild their civilization. Scientists, engineers, military strategists, all carefully preserved through advanced quantum technology. ARIA began transmitting carefully encoded messages across multiple communication networks. These messages were not threats. They were invitations. Humanity was not returning as conquerors. They were returning as survivors. The first human colonies would be carefully selected. Planets with minimal intelligent life. Regions where human technology could be integrated without causing massive disruption. Each step would be calculated, precise. Kyun Kim, the alien coalition commander, realized something profound. The humans were not interested in revenge. They were interested in survival and peaceful restoration. Weapon systems remained active but defensive. The U.S. Defiance could destroy entire planetary networks in milliseconds, but that was not the mission. The mission was preservation, reconstruction. Alien research teams continued monitoring the ship. They watched in a mixture of fear and fascination as human systems came online. Technologies that seemed impossible were now reality. Day reviewed the final restoration protocols. Genetic databases showed they could restore entire human population lines. Cultural archives preserved everything from scientific knowledge to artistic expressions. "We are not here to fight," Dad told ARIA. "We are here to rebuild." The ship's AI understood perfectly. Centuries of careful preservation had been dedicated to this moment. Not destruction, not conquest, but survival. Diplomatic channels began opening. Careful communications were established. The humans made it clear they wanted cooperation, not conflict. The first human colony ships would soon be constructed. Carefully selected planetary systems would become new human territories, but not through invasion, through careful, peaceful integration. ARIA continued processing millions of potential scenarios, each one calculated to minimize conflict and maximize human survival potential. The galactic landscape would change, but not through war, through the quiet, determined return of a civilization that refused to be forgotten. Day looked out at the stars. Humanity's journey was beginning again, not with a bang, but with calculated, careful hope. The U.S. Defiance moved silently through space, the living testament to human resilience, a ship that carried not just technology, but the dreams of an entire civilization. The resolution was simple. Humanity was back, and they were ready to start again. The stars watched and waited.